So hey there everybody, and first and foremost, welcome to allergy season in northern Arizona. The juniper's going crazy, and I think I'll make it through the day, so there you go. All right, so we're on location now. So the first video I did in this series, I said that we were going to be setting up for a longer construction progression video series. So this is number two. Number one, you saw me setting up the flight pattern. I set up the flight with Drone Harmony this time around. So oftentimes I will use Ground Station Pro or Map Pilot, but for the purposes of this video series, I thought you'd like to see something new and something different from what's usually on channel. So this go around is Drone Harmony's turn. And Drone Harmony allows us to not only do our grid setups, it also allows us to do facades of buildings down the road, and we can also do waypoint missions as well. So some of the things that we do with Litchi regularly, we can do some of that with Drone Harmony, and you'll be seeing that throughout this series. So this morning, I've already come out here. I've already done my flight. As I've said before, I usually don't like to be distracted while I'm actually doing the flight. So doing the video and the flight together, I do have one more person here with me, Jody, but I just wanted to really pay close attention to this one, make sure everything was getting captured where I wanted it. So I was looking at the screen preview, and I'm using a Galaxy Tab. I think it's the 5S. I can never remember the names of these. But so the Galaxy is what I was using for the control on this with the Drone Harmony application. So with all that said, I did get a great grid pattern today. So when we go back to the studio, I'll be offloading all of those images. We'll be running those images through Metashape. We're going to be doing it on the lower quality settings just to show you through. But the intent of this flight was to gather some information about this location. So doing the initial flight, when I feed it into Metashape, I can generate a digital elevation model, and that digital elevation model can be imported back into Drone Harmony so that the next time I do this flight path, we can actually have the drone adjusting for its elevation above ground level, so from our starting point. So we should be able to do an even more detailed model after the second pass and using that terrain aware feature. So we'll be seeing that upcoming really soon. So once we get all this offloaded and we actually create our DEM, our digital elevation model, we can then plan a second flight in Drone Harmony, so we can stack up different flights in it, and we can plan a second flight that is going to be flown with the terrain aware. So that's going to be our next step. After I get all that modeling and stuff done, we're going to be looking around the property for the flight paths that we're going to be doing, both video and still. So this project is evolving, and it's coming in smaller steps. Usually when I get out to a location, I get set for all of the things: our video flight, our still flight, our modeling, our ortho mosaics. This time around, we're doing these in smaller steps so that the folks that we're working with can then evaluate everything and make their decisions, their next decisions about how they're presenting the property and the property build. All right, so with all that said, I'm gonna close this one up because our client should be here momentarily. So we got out here a little ahead of time just to make sure I had time to do this video with you, and also make sure that I had the time to actually get the flight done. By the way, this flight, I decided to use the Mavic Pro, not the Mavic 2 Pro. I wanted to utilize the Mavic Pro in this one to see how everything goes, even with an older piece of equipment that is getting replaced by all the Mavic Airs and the Mavic Minis and all these different things. The drones that we have, oftentimes, a lot of the drones that you're working with are still going to get the job done. So get the most out of your capital expenditure and don't go chasing after the newest drone and the next newest drone. By the way, one other thing to keep in mind, especially with DJI, these new models of drones that are coming out, sometimes the SDKs, the software developer kits, haven't made it to the developers yet. So it could be weeks to months on some of your favorite autonomous flight applications. If you run out and get the latest drone, your favorite autonomous flight application might not be able to autonomously fly that drone for you yet. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're considering a purchase of a new drone to replace your old one. The big question, can I use my software with this? Are the techniques and the tools that I'm using today going to mesh with the newer drones. And in short term, normally, they're not going to be ready right out of the box. So if a new drone gets launched, there's a high probability that Map Pilot, Drone Harmony, Ground Station Pro, all these aren't quite ready yet. So it might be weeks or months of waiting to be able to use those favorite applications. So, you know, keep the practical side in mind, that you might still need to use some of your older equipment until those updates for your flight applications are available. And with that in mind, you might rethink a purchase or two. And I can tell you, I've had a lot of people getting in touch with me saying, hey, can I use Litchi with the new Mavic Mini, the Mini 2? Can I, use these apps with some of the other things DJI has come out with? And sadly, when I've responded to people, sometimes it's been, no, it's, they haven't had enough time with the SDK yet, or the SDK hasn't dropped yet. Okay, I'm gonna get to the rest of my work time here, and you'll be seeing the next part of this back on screen in the studio as we load up all of our waypoints to make our 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional models and our digital elevation model in our ortho mosaic as well. So I'll see you back in the studio. It'll be no time for you. It's probably gonna be a couple hours for me.